Joining us right now is Jesse. Jesse is the dad of Lily, and it happened September 26th, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
September 26th, 2018. Jesse, I'm going to let you tell the story about Lily and what happened. And Lily is here as well.
On the 26th, she, just as every other day, she had driven to school with her best friend.
Which is Oak Creek?
Oak Creek High School, yes. She was walking from where they parked their car, where all the seniors and juniors parked their cars and stuff, and was walking across the street to go to the school. Same path they take every day, hundreds of times, and she was struck by a vehicle as a pedestrian, and she suffered a traumatic brain injury because of it.
So the girls got out of the car and started walking.
Yes.
And struck by a vehicle. When you were called, who called you and what did they say when they called you?
It was actually the mother of one of Lillian's friends, because this wasn't, 10 minutes after school started. This was the main time where everybody's arriving, and there were hundreds of students there and dozens of her friends that saw this happen. And I was driving to work, and I received the call from this friend of Lily's mom, and she let me know what had happened.
Lily was just essentially starting her senior year?
Yes.
Okay. When they did call you, though, what was said to you? That she had just been hit by a vehicle? Did they have any idea?
I was told that she was in an accident, and I thought at first, obviously car accident,
Right.
and I said, okay, I'll head over there, and she said, Jesse, you need to hurry. Lillian was struck by a car walking across the street. Can't tell you the thoughts running through my head. What do you
Yeah.
do? Where do you go? Where do you start?
It's got to seem like an out-of-body experience.
Yes, it was,
Back.
and I probably put on about 50 miles driving to the school, away from the school, figuring out where to go, calling the police, trying to find out where she was brought to, and luckily she was brought to Children's Hospital's emergency room. So,
And Deanne, you were a nurse that was, you are a nurse, but you were working that particular day? Or how did you get involved in Lily's care?
I actually didn't get involved until she had been there for maybe a week or two,
Okay.
because I actually stopped Jesse in the hallway because I knew that Lily had been in the Oak Creek marching band, and I am a big marching band fan, and I said to Jesse, I was like, this girl's pretty cool. And then I think from then on, I just started trying to get in her room more and care for her and got to know the family. But I wasn't there the day that she
Okay,
arrived.
so Jesse, they brought her here,
yep.
and what was done, and what did they tell you?
Well, there wasn't a lot at first. We didn't really know it was, she had obviously sustained a pretty severe brain injury. The big concern was really swelling of the brain, and ensuring that we were, preventing her from having any serious issues that came about. Let's see, you'll have to remind me because there's been so many things that happened, Deanne, but she was intubated, chest tube, both sides,
Yeah, she was very sick.
fractures in her pelvis, skull fractures, abrasions, all over. I'm trying to remember because that board that was in her room was just a list where I would have to scroll through to see what was going on.
So people say, we're living day by day. You were living hour by hour.
Hour
Yeah.
by hour. Yep.
Mhm.
No,
Just
it
trying
was-
to figure out everything that was wrong.
Yeah.
Wanting to know if she would ever open her eyes or look at you or be responsive ever
What did they
again.
tell you?
I would say it was about 2-3 weeks in. We spoke with neurology, and they had done their scans, and they had told us that the significant portion of her injuries were at the brainstem, and they had said she would not wake up, she would not breathe on her own, she would not have any alertness, obviously as a parent, you start to put yourself in the position of asking what is the best outcome for
Right.
Lily at that time. And I want to say I was blessed because, I don't mean to make you cry, but because Deanne was here, I was having a very hard time, and I'm not somebody who's very open about things. I tried to protect others around me, and I opened up to Deanne and told her, I don't know what to do here. I'm having thoughts of, do we continue trying to help her? Because that is not a life I want for her, and I don't think that's a life she would want, having to be breathed for and not knowing anything. And thank God Deanne was there, because she was my comfort there. She was my shoulder, and she helped me, didn't give me any answers, but just knew that I knew somebody was there with me, and that my thought process was not wrong, right? And then as time went on, Lily showed us that, don't listen to what neurology said, okay? I'm gonna prove them wrong. And she continued to get stronger and continued to fight through things. And that hour by hour that we were living became day by day. And that day by day turned into week by week and month by month. And now, for everybody that's here, you can see Lily is alert,
Breathing on her own.
breathing on her own. She's well aware of everything that's going on. She communicates in her way now with us. She knows what happened, and she's continuing to fight and prove therapists and doctors wrong on a daily basis.
So where is the focus now as it relates to her care, and how does she improve more? What are they doing for her?
So she's receiving occupational and physical therapy on a weekly basis. And what we're looking at is just trying to achieve little bits of success, little improvements every week, right? So for a good portion of the time that we were in therapy, because of her injury, she has a lot of muscular tone issues where I tell people it's like resistance training, where she's constantly fighting against her muscles.
Okay.
And one of the biggest issues she had was in her neck, and she would be leaning forward and her head would basically be down, just basically like she was laying there.
Yeah.
We would have to put a strap around to try to hold her head up in her wheelchair. And so we worked for weeks on strengthening that. And she would have a successful day, week one, where she would be able to hold her head up on her own for 10 seconds. Huge success.
Yeah.
You can see now, we're talking just 3 months after we started this, and there's no issues.
Yeah.
She holds it up on her own.
That, like every one of those small little things you say is like a miracle in itself.
Yes.
How long was she in the hospital here?
September 26th, I believe we left on December 13th. So just,
Where did you go from here?
we went down to the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab, formerly the Rehab Institute of Chicago. So we picked up and went down to Chicago. It's the #1 rehab facility in the country.
And how long were you there?
We were there December 13th, and we left on March 7th.
Okay.
Yep. And there she would get 3 to 6 hours of therapy a day, 6 days a week. They worked her, and it pays off. It paid off completely. And it was tough for her,
Mhm.
but this girl's got determination about her.
She's
And
obviously tough.
tougher than I could ever be.
It's like the roles are reversed, right? She's your role model.
Yeah.
I've said it hundreds of times. As a parent, when you have children, you want to be that role model. You want to be the example to them.
Yeah, that they look up to you.
Yep. She is 100% now the example to all of us. She's what keeps me going. She's my toughness. She drives me to be a better person every day.
you said that she can communicate in her own way
Hmm.
to you.
Yeah, she doesn't speak just yet, but what she does is she will communicate either by closing her eyes. If you ask her a question, she can give us not a blink, but like a hard close to say yes. She's had some pretty good success with utilizing like switches where she can hit them with her hand and say, that's what I want. We've used her alertness and her gaze to use a spelling board where she can actually go through and spell out. Funny story real quick, a therapist on a Saturday asked Lillian how she was doing, and this is when we were in Chicago, and they asked her how she was doing, and they wanted her to spell it out, and she spelled out P-O. And the therapist said, P-O, are you trying to, and I said, I think she's saying she's P-O'd.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they looked at her and she said, yes, and closed her eyes tight.
Wow.
She's well aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
Yes, she is. Explain in this very difficult situation what Children's Hospital did for your family in addition to what they did for Lily.
I think what people don't realize is the care that the child is getting is of the utmost importance. But one thing that was very evident is that Children's Hospital isn't just caring for the patient. They care for the family. It is a difficult time to go through, obviously, and I think many places could be so focused on the patient and not worry about the family, because obviously the family's not the one
Right.
who's had the injury or the illness. But it was clear every day that we were a part of that care. They would take the time to just sit and talk. How are you doing? They reminded me almost hourly to take care of myself and go eat something,
Yeah.
which obviously I'm not thinking about.
No.
That's not where my mind is, but that's where theirs is. They're here to take care of everyone and not just the patient. And I don't believe I necessarily that we would get that anywhere else, and that's why this place is so special. It wasn't just taking care of me and Lily's mom and you know, it was grandpa and grandma and cousins and
Brothers
Lily's
and
boyfriend
sisters.
and I mean just everybody. That's what makes this special. That's what makes this place so special.
And it's got to be, as a parent, you know, obviously nothing can prepare you for a situation like this. So you almost have to lean on them, not just for emotional support, but also for maybe a little bit of guidance, because you've got to be questioning, okay, is this the right thing to do? Is this the wrong thing to do?
Yeah.
Am I doing what's best for Lily and for the family? And that's where children's expertise really comes to the fore.
And they're okay with you questioning that.
Oh yeah. I would always look forward to rounds every morning because I ask plenty of questions, and you know, as a parent, you're the advocate for the child. Okay, we're the advocates. So, and they were from the attendings to the nurse or the medical students. They would all be okay with me saying, "Well, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
What is the gain here? You know what? I don't think we should do that." But more importantly, honestly, I was the advocate for Lily, but Deanne and the other nurses, they were the advocates for us, right? And they would step in and say, here's really what's going on, and help make sure that we are giving her the best care. Another thing that is tremendously important and special is that relationship you develop with that team, because they're part of our family now, from now on.
And I can't even imagine from your perspective how far Lily's come from where she was, and that's got to give you hope and encourage you knowing how much further she can go.
I have to look back, and I know people always say look forward, look towards the future and stuff, and what's really important in this process is that we do have a lot of hope. She's showing us that, you know, this is not the end of her journey. There's more to come from her. But as the caregiver, you know, you sometimes get lost in how far she's come in a short period of time. That's why I say I look back. I look back at where we were, 6 months ago? And where we are now. In 6 months, we've come this far. How much further can we go in 6 years?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And it helps as the parent too, because, you know, going from that hour by hour, day by day, week by week, you have to look and say, am I gonna be okay? Can I do this? This is a lot. Can I do this? Well, if I can make it 6 months, that's
Yeah.
nothing.
Right.
I can continue because she drives it. She's our determination.
Well, we really appreciate you coming
Thank you.
and sharing your thoughts. And it's great to meet Lily. And thank you, Deanne, for all the hard work you and all the nurses do here. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We only have about an hour and a half left for the Miracle Marathon. Your money's being tripled. So there's really no reason why you shouldn't call 414-337-9554. Please call, donate whatever you can. Money's being tripled right